Good morning, class 8 children. Today we'll continue revision of chapter number 4, metals and non-metals. So this chapter has been divided into two parts. In first half, the physical properties of metals are there. In second half, there are the chemical properties of metal. So let's study first of all how metal looks, how they are the physically, means appearance, shape, color, size, how they look like. So metals are solids, hard, metallic luster is there, malleable, ductile, high melting and boiling points, good conductors of heat and electricity, plus they are sonorous. I hope each definition you know, and there are exceptions in each and every case. Like I'm just explaining, you know, all the metals, maximum metals are solids, but there is an exception with mercury, which exists in liquid state. Similarly, all metals are hard, but lithium, potassium, and sodium. Sodium is so soft metal that it can be cut with a knife even. So children, 1 mark questions you can get. That which metal is very soft that can be cut with a knife. So sodium is very soft metal which can be cut with a knife. Rest all are hard metals. Similarly, they have shine, can be beaten into thin sheets, can be drawn into wires. So these all are the physical properties of metals. Now switch to the physical properties of non-metals. See how non-metals are different from it. So non-metals may exist in solid, liquid and gases. Here two examples has been given that in solid form, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, liquid, bromine, and gases, you know, that is hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. These all are non-metals. Non-metals are soft. As you can compare, आपको ये क्वेश्चन भी आ सकता है, differentiate between metals and non-metals on the basis of their physical properties. So all metals were hard, but here all non-metals are soft except diamond. Children, this is very important question. Diamond is non-metal, which is the hardest natural substance. So don't forget it. You may get this question in MCQs. Non-metals do not have luster, non-malleable, non-ductile, not good conductors of heat and electricity. Only one exception is there. Exception is with graphite. Exception is with graphite, and they are non-sonorous. Graphite is good conductor of electricity. Metals were having high melting and boiling points, but non-metals have low melting and boiling points. So these are the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Kindly move to the next slide. Next, we are going to discuss about the chemical properties of metal. First chemical property of metal means how metal reacts with oxygen. Children, kindly learn it. Very important it is. Metal react with oxygen to form metal oxides. Metal oxides means two examples here we are taking. Copper plus oxygen. What is formed? Copper oxide. Aluminium plus oxygen. Aluminium oxide. Okay. तो सबसे पहले आपको ये बात लर्न करनी है कि मेटल फॉर्म्स मेटल ऑक्साइड विद वाटर. चिल्ड्रन, सॉरी, with the oxygen. Now few metals are there, like see here, when copper is heated to form copper oxide, it is heated to form this. It depends upon the situation. अब आप यहाँ से पूछ सकते हो कॉपर ऑक्साइड CuO फॉर्म हुआ है, एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड Al2O3 क्यों फॉर्म हुआ. So that depends totally on the combination property. So that will be explained later. Kindly अभी तो आप ऐसे ही लर्न करोगे इसको, ठीक है. कॉपर ऑक्साइड का फॉर्मूला CuO और एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड दिस इज Al2O3. Next, is there any reaction with oxygen is given in the next slide? Next, only two reaction has been given. Next chemical reaction of metal is with water. Children, metals react with water, but again there is a variation. Few of the metal reacts with the water when it is at the simple, means not too hot, not too cold. Some react with the cold water, some react with the hot water, with the boiled water, with the steam. So that depends upon the reactivity of a metal. How reactive is a metal? According to that, it depends. So few example of water has been taken. मैक्सिमम केसेस में आप देखो हाइड्रोक्साइड बन रहा है, तो इसमें क्या लिखा है? ये चीज आपको लर्न करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि व्हेन मेटल रिएक्ट्स विद वाटर तो क्या बनाता है, वो दोनों चीजें बनाता है बेटा. इट फॉर्म्स अ मेटल ऑक्साइड एज वेल एज हाइड्रोक्साइड एंड हाइड्रोजन इज रिलीज्ड इन ईच एंड एवरी केस. कुछ मेटल्स के साथ ऑक्साइड बनाता है एंड few metal it forms a hydroxide. So here examples are in front of you. When sodium react with water, देखो सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड, पोटाशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड, कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड, but in case of aluminium and iron it forms oxides. ठीक है. So metal when reacts with water both forms oxides as well as हाइड्रोक्साइड. और जब ऑक्सीजन के साथ रिएक्ट किया था तो क्या बनाया था, ओनली मेटल ऑक्साइड्स वर फॉर्म्ड. सो दिस वाज द सेकंड केमिकल रिएक्शन ऑफ मेटल्स विद, पहले ऑक्सीजन के साथ किया, सेकंड हमने वाटर के साथ किया, थर्ड विल बी विद एसिड आई थिंक. नेक्स्ट, एसिड्स. So how metal react with dilute acids? It forms salt and hydrogen gas is released. So the reaction is in front of you. Here we have taken the hydrochloric acid. Metals reacting with hydrochloric acid, that is magnesium chloride, aluminium chloride, zinc chloride, iron chloride, ferrous chloride you can say. And in each of the case the hydrogen is releasing. So metal salts are formed and hydrogen gas is released. Next. Wherever children you are facing any problem, you can ask me. Next comes reaction of metals with metal salt solutions. This is known as a displacement reaction. Already we had done many of the time. More reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from its salt solution. That is known as a displacement reaction. See, few of the reactions are in front of you. Magnesium plus copper sulfate. Copper can displace magnesium. Zinc plus copper, iron plus copper sulfate. Because beta magnesium, zinc, iron, these all metals are more reactive than copper. आपको मालूम है copper is less reactive. If this reaction will be, अगर मैं इस reaction को उल्टा कर देती हूँ, like magnesium sulfate कर देती हूँ plus copper कर देती हूँ, so the reaction will not take place. You feel like that reaction will take. Yesterday we discussed also in your one of the sample paper, one question was there. Okay, ferrous sulfate plus copper. So copper can't displace iron from its salt solution. Okay, so because copper is less reactive metal. In this any problem children? One more example we have done in your book, that is iron sulfate plus copper, that we did yesterday. Even it is written on the board, copper sulfate plus iron, that was taking place, but iron sulfate plus copper, that reaction was not taking place. Next. Children, this is the reactivity series. Most reactive, which metal, which non-metal is on the top? So potassium is on the top. Potassium is a metal which is most reactive, and this is a decreasing order. सबसे top में, then less. See, copper is here, और copper के ऊपर सारे ये हैं. So means copper can't displace all these metals. कॉपर के साथ अगर हमारा रिएक्शन सिल्वर के साथ हो, देन इट कैन displace silver from its gold. Gold is least reactive. That's why I told you that why the jewelry is made up of gold. Why we had chosen gold? Why not these other metals? Aluminium की jewelry क्यों नहीं पहनते हम? Because gold is least reactive. We are wearing gold from many of the years. It does not react even with our body, even with the air, or even with the water. It does not react. That's why gold is used to make jewelry. This is very important reactivity series. It's easily available, children. Next, beta. Next. So up to here, that was the chemical properties. Now we will be discussing the chemical properties of non-metals. Children, one thing is very important. Non-metals react with oxygen to form non-metallic oxides. So few of the non-metals are there here, carbon plus oxygen, that reacts with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide. You know this formulas and reaction. Next, water के साथ non-metals, they do not react. Okay. And one thing, let me tell you. बेटा पीछे कर next slide. Non-metals जो है वो acids के साथ भी react नहीं करती हैं. See, non-metals are stored in water. कौन सी non-metal है which is stored in water? For example, phosphorus is very reactive non-metal. It catches fire when it exposed to air. So that's why where it is kept? It is stored in water. Which non-metal? Phosphorus. Phosphorus, where it is kept? Kept in? Kept in water. And one more metal is there which is kept somewhere else. Can you name it? Metal. Sodium, where it is kept?
Ma'am, kerosene.
Sodium is kept in kerosene. Is there any reason for it? Why it is kept in kerosene? Because?
Ma'am, because with air it changes to fire.
Yes, it reacts with air and water. That's why it is kept in kerosene. It reacts with both air and water. Okay. Next. So non-metals का हमने reaction देखी है. Non-metal reacts with oxygen only to form. And even it does not react with water. Non-metal does not react with the acids. Next comes our okay, you can stop share beta. Now children, after this, I will be sharing the test. Still any of the problem is there, you can ask. Kindly ask if any of the concept is not clear to you of this chapter. Otherwise, let's start doing this test of chapter 4, metals and non-metals. Do not write the questions as the question, this worksheet I will be sharing on ERP. And if you say, I will be sharing in the group even, yours wish. On both the side I will be sharing. So your question number 1 is, purple colored non-metal forms a brown solution in alcohol which is dipped on the wounds as an antiseptic. So you have to name that non-metal. Kindly name that non-metal. I'm giving you some of Varuni, you know the answer. Kindly let me know. Tell.
Iodine.
Very good. Iodine is the name of that non-metal. Okay, if you know the answer, write down. Iodine. Next. Zinc sulfate forms a colorless solution in water. Will you observe any color on adding copper turning in it? Now, children, see to it. We are adding copper in zinc sulfate solution. So from here, it should be clear to you whether any of the, you will be observing any color change. Kindly raise hand if you know the answer. Any color change? Yes, Anshika.
Ma'am, there will be no color change.
No color change. Reason, you know? Pratiksha, go for the next question. Yes, Anshika, why? Why no color change is seen?
Ma'am, because it's zinc.
Yes, tell. Because zinc
Ma'am,
is more
because
reactive. Copper is less reactive.
reactive.
Yes, good. Number 3, Paheli bought a statue made up of copper. To her surprise, it required a dull green coating after a couple of months. Explain the reason. Very interesting question. Maybe you must be having few of the copper material at your home. And after few weeks or few months, there is a greenish coating on it. Varuni, tell the answer. Why it is so?
And because copper vessel is exposed to air for long, so it acquires greenish color
So
coating.
copper reacts with the air. Copper reacts with air, that's why, and after the reaction it forms a greenish colored coating is formed. Because can you tell me what is formed when the greenish layer is deposited on the this copper? Kya form ho jata hai? Copper react with air. So what is formed?
Copper
Copper
hydroxide.
oxide.
Copper hydroxide or copper oxide, और क्या form होता है? Two, three things are. Something else is also formed.
And copper carbonate.
Yes, copper carbonate is formed. Copper hydroxide and copper carbonate is formed when this greenish layer is deposited. So these two things are formed. So explain the reason. You had already explained the reason, because copper is a metal that reacts with the air. Next is, Paheli prepared a blue colored solution of copper sulfate in beaker A and placed iron nail into it. Bujo prepared a yellow greenish clear liquid of ferrous sulfate in beaker B. Already I think you know the answer of this question. What change can be observed in two of the beaker? One beaker is of Paheli and other beaker is of Bujo. ब्लू कलर के सॉल्यूशन में उसने क्या ऐड किया है? आयरन इज एडेड पहेली. एंड उसने येलोइश ग्रीन कलर के सॉल्यूशन में क्या ऐड किया है? कॉपर इज एडेड. सो in which beaker you will be observing color change? In both 1, 2. Kindly give me the answer. Raise hand. You may give the answer for question number 4. Ananya Jain.
Ma'am, in beakery there will be color change because iron is more reactive than copper, so it will displace copper
From its salt solution. Okay. In second,
Yes,
you won't be able to see any of the color change.
Ma'am. No, because ferrous sulfate means iron sulfate is copper wise placed inside the ferrous sulfate, so it will not be able to displace the iron sulfate because iron sulfate is more reactive.
See on the board, the reaction is written here. Yesterday even I told you that how the color change is observed. Okay, we did this question in the sample paper. Let's move to the next question. So let's move to question number 5. So these are the reactions. Kindly write down these reactions. After that, 6, difference between the reaction of metals and non-metals with oxygen, and give one example of each. You know, metals when react with oxygen, what they form? Metal oxide. And with non-metals, what they form?
Ma'am, non-metallic oxide.
Non-metallic oxide. Give one example of it. In non-metals, you can give the example carbon plus oxygen or sulfur plus oxygen. And in metals, you can give sodium plus oxygen. Any one of the reaction you can give. Okay. Next, number 7. Under what conditions does iron rust? And how can we prevent it? Children, still few questions are left. What are noble metals? It's very, very important. Noble metals, the metals which do not react, and why they are used to make ornaments like gold, silver, because these are non-reactive metal. These metals do not react. That's why they are known as a noble metals. Children, very important questions all of these are. So you have to go through it. You won't be getting the direct questions, beta. Okay.